Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.
Todd L. Levitt. Todd L. Levitt.
Todd and Craig, good to hear you guys.
Todd L. Levitt.
This is attorney Todd L. Levitt.
Honestly, you could not be any more spot on.
Now, from the Black Diamond Group mothership in the studios of 98.5 UPS, the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
As I walk along, I wonder what went wrong with our love, a love that was so strong. And as I still walk on, I think of the things we've done together while our hearts were young. I'm walking in the rain, tears are falling and I feel a pain, wishing you were here by me to end this misery. And I wonder, I wonder why she ran away, and I wonder where she will stay, my little runaway, run, 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 run away.
Welcome to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'm yours truly, attorney Todd L. Levitt, broadcasting and podcasting and podcasting. Happy 420 in the middle of the mitten in the Black Diamond Group mothership in a beautiful green nutrient field with my good friend Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle. He's the dankiest, especially this weekend, gassiest, dank to dank human I know. The water is wet. The sky is blue. Craig Russell is starring in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and we love you. How you doing, Craig? Happy 420 weekend.
You know, one of these days you're going to actually see what Chitty Bang Bang's all about, and you're not going to call me that anymore.
Wasn't it about a car or something like that?
It is a car. I'm not a car.
You know,
I'm a gas.
To all of my elementary school choir teachers, it wasn't your fault, but what was the point of sending a second grader to choir who could not sing? What was that, Craig?
The point is to find out who can sing and who can't.
Again, I mean, was that part of some kind of curriculum? Yeah, here's a kid who's shy. Maybe it was a get rid of your shyness and now look what happened. So you know what? In the end, it worked. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
How are you doing,
Todd? Craig?
I'm fan-flippin-tastic. How are you?
You know, I could not be better. You said it before the show. I am channeling my Rat Pack early 60s tunage. When I was growing up as a kid, my grandfather, Charles Levitt, had a jukebox in his basement, as did a lot of people, like one of those actual real jukeboxes.
Sure.
That didn't cost any money, but the song that we opened up the show with was, to an early age of my memory, one of those songs that I used to play over and over and over and over when I was like 5.
Del Shannon's Runaway, which, by the way, Del Shannon from Michigan.
You're just a plethora of information, aren't you?
You know, I know a little bit about a lot of things. How about that?
You really do.
I know a little bit about that. I know he's from Coopersville, which is by Grand Rapids, and he did not live a long life. He
didn't.
He
Nope.
died early, but great music and a great representative of Michigan music from the early 60s. Really, kind of between Motown and him, and then, the late 60s, the MC5 and a lot of the Michigan bands, Bob Seger, and then, of course, we get into the 90s and Kid Rock and Eminem.
Yeah, but we have a lot of men and women who, I mean, you're 102, I'm 59, who grew up on that music. I did not grow up on Del Shannon. I did not grow up on Dion, by the way. We're going to play some Dion here in a moment, and we are a law show, and Nicholas Klaus, attorney at law, who works with Levitt Law Firm in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, is coming on the show, as possibly Mike the Nick Nichols, attorney at law, coming on the show.
Wow.
But Nick is definitely in the mothership. We know that for a fact.
Jam-packed show today.
Yeah, Nick's doing a great job at Levitt Law Firm. He is a certified and bona fide criminal defense licensed restoration lawyer. But so happy to have Nick Klaus in town here. But Craig, I mean, we have a lot of men and women who grew up in the 60s, and they love this music. And by us playing this music is bringing back, hopefully, good memories. Because music can trigger what? Good, bad, happy, or non-existent memories.
Memories in general.
Yeah, memories in general.
It really does.
And we want to bring some good karma to this 420 weekend. Can you explain 420 to people out there who may have no idea what we're talking about?
Sure. It's April 20th.
Good guess, Craig. There you go. All right, we'll leave it at that.
I know a lot about a little about a lot of things.
Yeah.
There we
How
go.
about, I think The Wanderer, if you listen to the words, is about an old school player, like a guy that's a player with women. So
I would agree with that.
And I don't want anyone to be disrespectful to women, and nor was I ever, but The Wanderer carries that sort of tunage if you listen to it. So,
well, let's
Craig,
listen
what do
to
you
it.
say?
Let's play
Okay.
it.
Oh, and I'm the type of guy who will never settle down. Where pretty girls are, well, you know that I'm around. I kiss them and I love them, cause to me they're all the same. I hug them and I squeeze them, they don't even know my name. They call me the Wanderer, yeah, the Wanderer. I roam around. Oh, well, there's Flo on my left arm and there's Mary on my right. And Janie is the girl, well, that I'll be with tonight. And when she asks me which one I love the best, I tear open my shirt and I show a Rosie on my chest, cause I'm a wanderer, yeah, a wanderer. I roam around. Oh, well, I roam from town to town. I go through life without a care, and I'm as happy as a clown. I with my two fists divine, but I'm going nowhere. Oh, yeah, I'm the type of guy that likes to roam around. I'm never in one place. I roam from town to town, and when I find myself falling for some girl, yeah, I hop right in that car of mine. I drive around the world. Yeah, I'm a wanderer. Yeah, a wanderer. I roam around. Let it go.
Now, you opened the show with Del Shannon, and now we're playing Dion. But who did you really want to open the show?
So, on my third list of early 1960s music, how about some Bobby Darin? So, we've got some Del, some Dion, and now some Darin, otherwise known as Triple D. Isn't that drive-ins? What is that?
Diners, drive-ins, and dives with Guy Fieri.
not to take away his trademark, because I love Guy. So, Guy, if you listen to the show, which is truly a long shot, let's go with the Triple D's this morning, referring to music, not the show, which I love.
Every night I hope and pray a dream lover will come my way, a girl to hold in my arms and know the magic of her charms, 'cause I want a girl to call my own. I want a dream lover so I don't have to dream alone. Dream lover, where are you? With a love oh so true, and the hand that I can hold, feel you near as I grow old. 'Cause I want a girl to call my own. I want a dream lover so I don't have to dream alone. Someday, I don't know how, I hope she'll hear my plea. Some way, I don't know how, she'll bring her love to me. Dream lover, until then, I'll go to sleep and dream again. That's the only thing to do, till all my lover's dreams come true. 'Cause I want a girl to call my own. I want a dream
Bobby Darin, he's another one who died at a young age. He died at 37 of a heart attack.
Wow.
In 1973, which is crazy.
I was 8 years old. Were you born in 73?
I was in my 40s in 1973. Come on, I'm 100 years old.
40s, yeah.
Come on,
yeah, exactly.
100 years old. But he died early. That's usually the case of a lot of musicians who do die. They die at a young age. There's all those famous people who died at 27: Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, being a law show, I did have a complaint last week about a fast food issue I was having.
Okay.
I don't know, and so I thought I'd talk about it this week. And look, much love to all the fast food workers out there. It's hard enough to find men and women to work these jobs. I worked at Domino's Pizza. I was a waiter at Uno's Pizzeria. I mean, you and I both did all those jobs. I was a busboy at the old Bonanza before it became Ponderosa.
Wow.
So, yeah. And I'll tell you, I had to clean the bathrooms at the end of the night. And sorry, ladies, but the women's bathroom was always disgusting compared to the men. I don't know why that was. But why? Because women are our mothers, our sisters, our grandmothers, our aunts. They're supposed to be neat and clean. And when I was a busboy at the age of like 13 to 14, because that's all I could do at that age, do the dishes and clean the tables, the bathrooms were disgusting, truly.
I'm going to tell you something, my friend. I love
Tell
women.
me whatever you want because you're in control of the studio.
I love women, but
So
women are gross. That's all there is to it.
Okay, I'm not going to go that far because, they're still beautiful creatures, as is the lovely Jen who just walked into the studio.
Hey.
Jen, would you like to say hello to listeners?
No.
Wow. She's good. So, I don't know what it is with Clare, Michigan, which I love. Big shout out to Jimmy Pashaw up there in Clare. My good friend, Leroy Decker, and everybody up there in Grayling, Todd Wakely. I got so many great friends up there in Grayling as well. But Clare, about 6 months ago, I had a issue when I went through, the arches. I didn't get the blueberry muffin that I ordered. Right, Craig? We talked about that.
Yep.
And a lady who actually listens to the show, I ran into her one day at M66. She said, Todd, I'm sorry about your muffin, because she worked there. So 2 weeks ago, I'm going through the Bell. Does that explain where I was at, the Bell?
Bong.
Bong.
Yes.
I always order a Crunchwrap Supreme. That's what I get. Love the Crunchwrap Supreme. I give them my money, take the change. I'm back on the highway heading to Mount Pleasant. It's about, 20-minute drive south. Then I start looking in the bag. I pull out the Crunchwrap Supreme, and Craig, there was nothing there. If you ever have a Crunchwrap Supreme, it's supposed to be the beef. It's supposed to be the lettuce. You can get it with cheese, with sour cream and tomatoes.
It's pretty hefty.
It's a meaty bite of a food product, and I love it. Well, there was nothing but the shell, and because there was nothing in it, I mean, it was literally, I was thinking to myself, is this a joke? Did somebody want to quit their job? Is somebody pissed off there? So I called up a couple days later. I spoke to Chris, the manager, and he was great. And so he told me to come back up to Taco Bell and get a new Crunchwrap Supreme and, and whatever else I wanted. And look, I said to Chris, I said, look, I don't want anybody to get fired over this. It's hard enough to find men and women to work these jobs. And that was not my intention on calling them up, but I wanted to make sure it didn't happen to somebody else. But I'll tell you this, whomever made this Crunchwrap Supreme, all they did was take the tortilla or what was that coming, Craig?
The crunch shell thingy, yeah.
Yeah, the shell. All it was a shell that was toasted, thrown into a wrap and into my bag. There wasn't not one shred of lettuce or beef in that Crunchwrap. So, I mean, for me, it's a Larry David satirical Seinfeld moment in my life. But I'll still go back to that Taco Bell. I'll still go back to that Mickey D's. All those men and women do such a great job up there. So for me, I'm not one to complain about that stuff. Having been a fast food worker, and back in the day when I delivered Domino's Pizza 30 minutes or less, and I had to take a delivery at 10 minutes to 2, which I'm still pissed off at my manager for doing that. Come on. Like, if you're the manager of a pizza place, Craig, and it's 10 to 2 and you close at 2, okay, I mean, is $8 really going to make that much of a difference? You're going to send a driver who still has to come back and fold 100 boxes and clean up and mop and, to that delivery zone, which it's usually someone intoxicated and we can never find it. My point is, to all my managers who made me do that, look at me now, baby. That's all I'm going to say. Look at me now, and where are you? I'm just saying that, okay? You pissed me off to the extent that I said, I'm going to law school. I'm done delivering pizzas at 10 to 2 when we should be shutting this down. Okay, that's my complaint. Good night, everybody. It's 4:20. I'm going to go get me something to smoke and toke, and let's bring Nick Klaus on the show. What do you say, Craig?
We'll do that right after we take this break.
This is attorney Todd L. Levitt here to tell you about my favorite one and only, the only one I go to, M66 Cannabis Company, recreational dispensary right here in the great state of Michigan, central northern Michigan, located at 3023 20 Mile Road, Beaverton, Michigan, between Big Rapids and Mount Pleasant, Michigan. M66 Cannabis Company is frickin' fantastic, folks, from pipes to edibles to flower, 24 different strains. The staff, all locally hired, general manager, knowledgeable, community-oriented, family-owned. Be sure to check out M66 Cannabis Company, Beaverton, Michigan.
Hey, this is Mike Messina, general manager at M66 Cannabis Company out of Barrington, Michigan, off of M66. And I want to personally invite you down to M66 Cannabis Company to come peruse our wide selection of different products, 18 different strains of flower, 29 different types of cartridges, and so much more. We've got everything that you could possibly need and a very well-trained and compassionate staff there to help you find exactly what you're looking for.
That's M66 Cannabis Company, located at 3023 20 Mile Road. That's 3023 20 Mile Road. My favorite recreational dispensary here in Michigan. Be sure to stop in and tell the folks when you get there you heard it right here on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, turning it and burning it in the Black Diamond Group mothership, coming back with some great tunage that's just destroying my noggin here on the 420 weekend, Craig. Who are we coming back with?
Well, you're like into the 60s thing. I don't know what that's all about. I mean, I know what it's about, but I don't know what it's about. But that was a little Dion, the Wanderer.
I'm walking in the rain. No, it's Del Shannon, isn't it?
Well, Dion was the Wanderer, and Del Shannon was Runaway.
Yeah, we came back with Runaway just now.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm a walking in the rain. Fun. Okay, I'll stop saying.
It sounds like the girl from Raisins.
Welcome to Raisins. Welcome to Raisins. Hey, listen. We had Nick Klaus, attorney at law, on the show a couple weeks ago. Nick, honestly, and I'm not just saying this because he works at Levitt Law Firm here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, just an outstanding human, an attorney. We've had such a great time, and he's just had some great outcomes. He's just advocating so hard on behalf of individuals who call our law firm, and I'm so proud, Nick. And he's also turned into a great friend of all of ours. We have a great time there working with Nick. Nick, welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. How you doing, Nick?
Great. Thanks for having me back. And I have to say, for 102, Craig, you look amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Nick. You know, I try to look not a day over 95, but you know what happens. So,
yeah.
But I appreciate that very much, Nick. Thank you.
Yeah,
100%.
Nick has a great background in law and advocacy. Attended Wayne State University. It's a great law school in the city of Detroit. I attended Detroit College of Law. And Nick and I last week, and I've done this over the years, and so has Nick, we met with a young man who attends Central Michigan University. And this young man is seeking a career in law. He has about another year and a semester to go, Nick?
I think that was right. Yeah, about another year.
So we sat down with them, and we were happy to do so. And one of the reasons is we want to motivate and encourage men and women of all ages, of any age. If you feel like you want a career in the law, then we're happy to give you that advice and guidance and tell you what our journey was, because everybody has their own story. And so that's what we did. And that brings us to sort of the topic of the show, right, Nick?
Yeah. Yep. Access to justice.
Which is what?
Access to justice. Yeah.
So access to justice. And so explain what you mean by access to justice.
So what I mean by that is, the people's ability to, get themselves into a court, find themselves represented by competent lawyers in front of competent judges, with competent staff, all that. So not unlike other industries in this country right now, Craig, the legal profession is lacking in lawyers moving into all parts of the state of Michigan. This is happening all over the country, by the way. We checked with the American Bar Association. So this show's listened to in all 50 states. And I can tell you folks out there, in your state, especially in Michigan, our state, we practice in the middle of Michigan, and we also have the Upper Peninsula. We could probably use competent, 300 to 400 lawyers in every genre. I mean, comfortably, Nick, would you say that? Oh, yeah, all day long. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Well, there's just not many. There's what we say a dearth of lawyers in northern Michigan.
I mean, there's many reasons why there's a lack of lawyers, but so you could point to a number of reasons. And Nick, can you provide one of those reasons why? I mean, there's not a lack of people going to law school, but why are young and men and women of all ages not moving into those rural towns or something different than the big cities?
Well, I think the biggest reason, and this is my opinion, of course, but I think the biggest reason is that there's no place to live at the rates that a lot of the positions are paying. I mean, it's just, you graduate with all that debt, you're looking to get that debt behind you as quickly as possible, and paying a fortune to rent a place up north. And then on top of that, not getting paid a whole lot. And I'm not just talking about lawyers. I'm saying, in any profession relative to that, the wages are they're depressed. And so it's hard to attract talent.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception out there. And you and I talked to this young man about this. His name was Chris. We won't say his last name. He goes to Central Michigan University, fire up chips. I'm a chip. Craig's a chip. But, and there's a misconception out there, and I don't know if TV has something to do with it or the movies over the decades. Just because you go to law school and you become a lawyer, it doesn't mean you struck gold. It doesn't mean you won the lotto. It takes decades and decades, and if you're lucky and successful at what you've done, then possibly you will make more than a good living. But just because, like you said it, I think one of the reasons is the cost of an education these days. All these universities recruit. You get all these parents and young men and women excited to go to college, and then to grad school, medical school, law school, other institutions of higher education, not thinking about necessarily the debt and the interest rates that they're accruing. And then it takes them a lifetime, if even that, if they're able to pay it off. It took me 30 years to pay off my student loans. 30 years. Okay. So I carried that with me, that mortgage, for 30 years. I'm glad I did it because I was willing, no matter what cost, I was going to become an attorney, Nick. So how about you?
Yeah. Well, I would say that the money issue in terms of education is really difficult to bear. When I graduated, I went to Wayne State for law school. When I graduated, the year I graduated, U.S. News and World Report said that Wayne State was the best value law school. And I'm looking at that article with a $90,000 bill. And that's just for tuition, just tuition.
Right. Not to live, books, food, travel, all that.
Right. And then on top of that, I'm paying 8% interest on those federal loans. That makes your decisions quite narrow. I mean, in terms of what you're going to do after law school.
But back to and we'll get Mike Nichols, attorney at law, one of the smartest lawyers I know, on here in a moment to talk about this. But come full circle back to the topic at hand, having the ability to obtain proper representation when the pool of lawyers is so small, that affects your constitutional rights, the outcome of the case, the way you're going to be represented. And that's not to say that there are any lawyers out there that are not doing his or her job, but as lawyers age and get older, like any profession, they may lose that hunger. Not me. I mean, I'm hungry every day to advocate on behalf of people. I love it. My DNA boils, but there's a lot of people out there. So the profession is getting older and there's not younger lawyers coming in to fill that gap. I feel with education, and I don't know where this all started 150, 200, 300 years ago, but the thing is you have to go to college. You have to go to college, get a degree, to get a job. And we know for a fact that most of these young men and women, if they're not going to higher education that require a license like you and I, or a medical or accounting or engineering, they're not. A lot of these men and women have this huge debt, and they're not even working in the industry in which they obtain a degree for. And the colleges, see you later. Let's bring in the next batch of freshmen, and then you're struggling the rest of your life. So that's my interpretation of of education. Period. So I think people are better off learning a trade when they're in elementary school and seeing what their skill set is to help rebuild this great country of ours, instead of trying to convince everybody to go to college, take out all these loans, and be in debt their whole life.
Interestingly, in the law, it wasn't that long ago that's how you did it, was you did an apprenticeship. Law schools didn't really exist, and you just found a lawyer and said, can I come learn the trade, so to speak? And hopefully they said yes, and so you learned under them. Now the price of admission is $100,000 or more just to sit for the bar, essentially.
So here's something interesting, correct. And let's bring aboard Mike Nichols here in a moment when we go to the next segment. There are states such as Wisconsin. We love everybody in Wisconsin, but you're not getting the Upper Peninsula. It belongs to Michigan, folks. Okay? And if anybody has no clue what I'm talking about, Craig, what am I talking about?
You're talking about the Upper Peninsula of Michigan that Wisconsin wants it, and they can't have it.
Because it borders Wisconsin, and there's
ours.
Yeah, it's ours. They're not getting it. When we got it from Ohio, we're not giving it back. We traded Toledo for the Upper Peninsula. It was a great trade.
We won.
Yeah, we won. Yeah. But Wisconsin, Nick, am I correct? And maybe Attorney Mike Nichols can add to the conversation here in a moment. You don't have to take the bar if you're already an attorney and you move there to practice law? Am I correct about that? Do you know about that?
My understanding was that if you went to a Wisconsin law school and graduated from a Wisconsin law school, you did not have to sit for the bar to be licensed in Wisconsin. I don't know if you moved there or how that works, but I do know that I shouldn't say I do know. Last I checked, you graduate from a Wisconsin law school, boom, you're in. That's it.
I think
no bar.
Communities are going to have to start doing what hospitals do. I think they do this for some doctors. You agree to, after school, come practice in our community, and we'll cover your education. But you see, the citizens shouldn't have to pay higher taxes just to get lawyers to move into that region. I think that falls upon the law schools, our profession as a whole, to excite men and women to move to other areas other than the big cities. I think that falls upon the entire profession at every level. That's my opinion, Nick. But, hey, Craig, we have to go to break, don't we?
We do, and when we come back, we'll have Attorney Mike Nichols at law from East Lansing. He will weigh in on this, and I've got a couple of little things I want to say about it as well. But we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
This is Attorney Todd L. Levitt here to tell you about my favorite, one and only, the only one I go to, M66 Cannabis Company, recreational dispensary right here in the great state of Michigan, central northern Michigan, located at 3023 20 Mile Road, Beaverton, Michigan, between Big Rapids and Mount Pleasant, Michigan. M66 Cannabis Company is frickin' fantastic, folks, from pipes to edibles to flower, 24 different strains. The staff staff, all locally hired, general manager, knowledgeable, community-oriented, family-owned. Be sure to check out M66 Cannabis Company, Barrington, Michigan.
Hey, this is Mike Messina, general manager at M66 Cannabis Company out of Barrington, Michigan, off of M66. And I want to personally invite you down to M66 Cannabis Company to come peruse our wide selection of different products, 18 different strains of flower, 29 different types of cartridges, and so much more. We've got everything that you could possibly need and a very well-trained and compassionate staff there to help you find exactly what you're looking for.
That's M66 Cannabis Company, located at 3023 20 Mile Road. That's 3023 20 Mile Road. My favorite recreational dispensary here in Michigan. Be sure to stop in and tell the folks when you get there you heard it right here on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
As I walk along, I wonder what went wrong with our love, a love that was so strong. And as I still walk on, I think of things we've done together while our hearts were young. I'm a walking in the rain, tears are falling and I feel a pain, wishing you were here by me to end this misery. And I wonder, I wonder why she ran away, and I wonder where she will stay, my little runaway. Run, 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 run away.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. We got a full house here.
Yeah.
We've got Todd, we've got Nick Klaus, and we've got the lovely and talented Mike Nichols from East Lansing, Michigan. Nick, what's going on, Mike?
What's up, people?
What's up, Mike? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well. Nice to meet Nick and be on the show again.
Yep. Fresh off the slopes of Snowmass, right, Mike?
Yeah, Aspen
How was
Snowmass.
that?
That's where we. Fantastic, just so beautiful.
Didn't break anything, did you?
No, sir.
Good answer.
I did just fine.
Good answer.
Skier?
I did fall.
Okay.
And yes, I'm a skier.
But you didn't break anything.
Nope.
That's
broke
good.
nothing. Nope.
That's good. That's good.
I broke the .10 BAC. I'm sure.
You're not supposed to ski and be intoxicated, but then again, that's not a public roadway, is it?
Correct. That's perfectly. But I'm usually pretty sober when I'm on the slopes, just because, especially at 12,500 feet, you gotta have your wits about you.
Yeah, I've snowboarded all over the east and west. I've been to Aspen, and Mike can attest to this. Maybe Nick. When you're on when you're skiing or on a board, you're going about 25, 30 miles an hour down. And there's other trails that are coming in, crossing over. You have got to be on your game, because you could get hurt or killed or injured and within seconds, less than that. So you really have to pay attention. I always wear really bright colors, and I'm a big guy, 6 feet, 200 plus, so people can see me, you know? But
Gotta have your head on a swivel, no doubt.
Have to. So Mike, chime into the discussion. What's some of the reasons, if there are any, why our profession is lacking in young lawyers moving to all these communities around, not just our state, but all over the country? What's going on out there?
I think it's pretty simple supply and demand, right? It's macroeconomics. And I listened in a little bit on the last segment, and Nick put it very well. You know, what's the return on your investment in law school or professional school, whether it's medical school, law school, dental school, what have you, and what's the return versus the overhead that you will incur wherever you're living. Some people are very heavy on the supply side. Bring me in, I'll make the money, we'll worry about figuring out how to pay for our lifestyle, whatever. And I think that's what's going on. I think in Houghton County they have 3 lawyers. I think I read that data. One's a judge, one's a prosecutor, one's
Houghton Hancock up in
yes,
Tech?
yes, the Western UP. One private practitioner, one judge, one prosecutor. I mean, that's a tough situation, right?
I was in Benzie County the other day. Great judge out there. I think Judge Thompson, great judge, circuit court judge. Sarah does a great job as prosecutor out there. Nick, they think very highly of you.
Thank you.
The lawyers that practice in that county come from Traverse City to the north.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
If I had to go, if somebody said to me, Todd, I know you want to be an attorney today. This is the debt you're going to incur and how long you're going to pay it off. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to law school in 2024. It's not
really.
There's no
really.
Yeah, this guy's not doing it. There's no way. I'm gonna.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna move to Alaska or out west somewhere and just spend time in the woods and do something out there. I'm not going to law school. It's too expensive. And like both of you said, what's the return? The housing is ridiculous, and everything's too expensive.
Well, I'm disappointed to hear that, and I'm glad that didn't play out that way because I think you're a great lawyer, and you've helped a lot of people in your 30 years, Todd? Is that how long you've been practicing?
30 years this month I've been practicing law. Yep, 1994.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
A little Richard for you.
We would be at fault if we didn't also talk about Nick, Wendy Nichols, attorney at law. So Mike, you practice in East Lansing, but all over the state of Michigan. What kind of law does your firm do? And your wife, and please give out your phone number for representation. Levitt Law Firm sends a lot of cases your way, and boy, have you really fought hard and got some great outcomes for all of them. Thank you.
And I'll tell you, the Nichols Law Firm is it's not Mike Nichols, it's Wendy Schiller Nichols. Wendy founded the firm in late fall of 2005 out of the attic of our house in East Lansing. She does personal injury. And that's been really her focus. She's, in fact, at the No Fault Institute as we speak tonight. That's why it's so quiet in the house right now. You don't hear dishes. You don't hear pots banging.
Give out your
dishes
phone
being
number
put
there,
away.
Mike.
517-432-9000. I think it's, 517-432-9000. Yep.
So let me ask you this, and Nick, I want to get your take on this. Do you think we're going to get to the point where, let's talk about the public defenders.
Yeah.
But are we going to get to the point where communities are going to have to offer law students benefits to move to that community after law school?
Maybe. I mean, look at some of the counties in Michigan.
Northern
some of the counties
in the great show that was on TV.
Yes. Joel Goodman.
No, I think that's where we're headed if we're not there already. I mean, they're screaming for help in these public institutions, like public defender positions, prosecutor positions. I think pretty much every county north of M10 is dying for attorneys, and they just can't get them to come up there because, again, the salaries are too low in comparison to the cost of living.
But
yeah, I agree with that.
Every type of law, though, guys, every type of law, family law, probate law, every type of law is needed across the entire region. So.
Oh, absolutely. And
the public is harmed. It's the public that's harmed.
For sure.
Being harmed.
For sure. And I'll be frank, I would have, if I knew I could do it, I would have gone to Marquette and practiced law there. And
agreed.
I love that community, love the UP. And if I knew I could make not only I don't want to say comfortable living, but a decent living and get my law school loans paid off, I'd have gone there in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
But here, it's the thing is that the promise of 10 years and we'll pay off your loans doesn't do much for the applicant in the meantime. That doesn't cover their cost of living. That doesn't cover rent and things like that in the present. And so the 10-year forgiveness is a tough sell. because they got to survive in the meantime.
And,
Right.
and some of these places that are looking for public defenders, I saw a study once somewhere like I think it was in New Orleans. They had like 7 public defenders for the whole city. And that meant each one of them could spend an average of like less than a minute on cases before they'd go into court. I mean, you can't prepare properly. You can't even offer a reasonable defense in less than a minute if that's how much time you have to defend somebody, correct? You guys are lawyers.
1,000% correct. 1,000% correct.
Yeah.
I call that ineffective by volume. It's
Right.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right.
And so these cities that are looking for public defenders, they might have to offer more incentives than just paying off your loans in 10 years. They might have to offer a base salary on top of whatever they make being a lawyer, because they're just not going to get the people. And eventually, you're not going to have enough public defenders. And then what are you going to do?
So I have a solution. Local communities should identify a handful of men and women who have the skill set, good English skills, speaking, have the intellect that could go to undergrad and law school, and give them scholarships with the promise that they'll come back to the community. So the community is paying for their education with the understanding that they're going to come back to that community and practice law. And it doesn't have to go to the taxpayers. In most of these communities around the state, there are men and women and families that have been there for generations that have very successful businesses, and maybe they can get a tax write-off by donating to these nonprofit scholarships to bring men and women back to their communities. I mean, I don't see how that won't work.
Well, let me ask you a question. All three
I
of
want
you
to hear what the lawyers have to say.
Well, I want to ask all three of you lawyers a question, though. Did you, Todd, know at 17 you wanted to be a lawyer?
I did.
Okay.
I was 16.
I did not. No.
And neither Nick. So 2 out of 3 of you didn't know that early on. It's hard to determine at 17 necessarily what you're going to want to do at 27. I mean, that's
Right,
the only
but-
problem.
Right, but I mean, that's where the community, the parents, and there are men and women in high school who do have interest in, you can introduce them. Listen, I was boogie boarding on Zuma Beach in SoCal when I was 16. I met a lawyer who was pretty high profile at the time. I'll just leave his name out of it. And he said to me, Todd, you should put an education behind that personality. You would make a great lawyer. And a bell went off in my head. I looked up to this guy. He was like a national figure. I said, you know what? I mean, I had no idea what it meant to be a lawyer, but this guy, he just like hit me on the head with a magic wand, and I was literally boogie boarding that day.
Did you meet his daughters? Did you meet his daughters?
No, I didn't meet his daughters.
Kim and Chloe? Okay, wait, I'm sorry.
Oh, nice. Jen listens to the show. All right. But hey, we're talking with attorney Nicholas H. Klaus of Levitt Law Firm, attorney Mike Nichols of the Nichols Law Firm, together with Wendy. What's Wendy's full name there?
Schiller Nichols.
Schiller Nichols, one of the best, if not the best, law firm in the state of Michigan. And Craig, when we come back, let's talk a little bit about public defenders. How much time we have left?
We got about 5 minutes, maybe.
But this is going to be part 1 of 2. So, folks, stay tuned. Make sure you tune in to next week's podcast or radio program on 98.5 UPS, because nobody's going anywhere. You're going to hear the same gentleman on that show, and we're going to continue this conversation. This is attorney Todd L. Levitt here to tell you about my favorite one and only, the only one I go to, M66 Cannabis Company, recreational dispensary right here in the great state of Michigan, central northern Michigan, located at 3023 20 Mile Road, Beaverton, Michigan, between Big Rapids and Mount Pleasant, Michigan. M66 Cannabis Company is frickin' fantastic, folks, from pipes to edibles to flower, 24 different strains. The staff, all locally hired, general manager, knowledgeable, community-oriented, family-owned. Be sure to check out M66 Cannabis Company, Beaverton, Michigan.
Hey, this is Mike Messina, general manager at M66 Cannabis Company out of Barryton, Michigan, off of M66. And I want to personally invite you down to M66 Cannabis Company to come peruse our wide selection of different products, 18 different strains of flower, 29 different types of cartridges, and so much more. We've got everything that you could possibly need, and a very well-trained and compassionate staff there to help you find exactly what you're looking for.
That's M66 Cannabis Company, located at 3023 20 Mile Road. That's 3023 20 Mile Road. My favorite recreational dispensary here in Michigan. Be sure to stop in, And tell the folks when you get there, you heard it right here on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
As I walk along, I wonder what went wrong with our love, a love that was so strong. And as I still walk on, I think of things we've done together while our hearts were young. I'm a walking in the rain, tears are falling and I feel a pain, wishing you were here by me to end this misery. And I wonder, I wonder why she ran away, and I wonder where she will stay, my little runaway, run, 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 run away.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, post 420, smoking it and toking it, turning it and burning it with my good friend, attorney Mike Nichols, and of Levitt Law Firm, Nicholas H. Klaus. By the way, he was born on Christmas, Mike. Did you know that?
And his name is
Nicholas Klaus, born on Christmas. True story, right, Nick?
That's a true story.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
Nick Klaus in the house.
Nick Klaus in the house. So, Craig, what are we talking about?
Well, we were talking about public defenders, about what people can, what things can be done to hire more public defenders, because there's so many places that need them. Young attorneys in general, but public defenders especially as well. I mean, it's pretty much an epidemic at this point.
Nick, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Okay, so I should add, it's not just the defenders, though. It's also the prosecutor's office are desperate for people in northern places.
But here, I just want to throw this in there and let you talk, Nick. One of the big issues is the people in those communities have to agree, and I'm sorry, folks, to an increase in their tax base in order for the county to be able to increase the salaries to bring in these prosecutors. If you want your communities to remain safe, you want the police, we love law enforcement, big shout out to law enforcement, all the veterans. If you want those men and women to keep doing their jobs and arresting people, there's got to be prosecutors who are competent in those communities to prosecute them. And right now, all the prosecutors' offices across the state are lacking, so that's a solution right there. Go ahead and talk, Nick. I cut you off.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, if they don't have the bodies, the attorneys, to put on the cases, then they got to start dismissing cases. And that's not good for community safety and so forth. So, yeah, there's got to be buy-in, literally and figuratively, by the communities, that is the counties, to fund these positions. And the state, the state needs to be kicking in too, in my view. So it's kind of an all hands on deck thing, because there's just not enough defenders. I mean, you go around to any of these counties, you mention you're in criminal defense, and before you know it, all the judges are asking if you'll take on appointed cases.
Do they do that to you as well, Mike? I mean, you're a pretty hired, experienced, high-profile trial attorney, but do you ever have judges? I mean, if I'm a judge, I'm never asking some of your caliber that. But and not to insult any of the public defenders, but you're you're not a public defender, right? I mean, I did court appointments for a couple of years, so I'm not knocking it. But what about you?
No,
I asked you to do that.
I did court appointed cases as well for many years, and it's been a long time since I've had a judge ask me to do something like that. I mean, a very long time.
But in places like, if I could just add, in places like where I used to practice a lot, Missaukee County, Wexford County, Missaukee in particular, like Mike brought up Houghton, I think there's like maybe 3 or 4 licensed attorneys. One of them's a district judge. Melissa Ransom's a great judge. One of them's David Denhoughton. He's the elected prosecutor there. And then I honestly can't think of another lawyer that lives in that jurisdiction since I left. So maybe
in the county.
In the county, in the whole county. Yeah.
My man Ross, though. I got my buddy Ross there.
So people, just for context, Missaukee is on basically off M55, right? You take 127 to 55, go
That's right,
west
yeah.
instead of east. You go east, you're in Houghton Lake. You go west, you're going to get to Missaukee County seat, which is Lake City, right?
Lake City. That's right. Yeah. Scenic Lake City.
I just know because I grew up over there, so that's how I
did
know.
you? Okay.
Yeah.
My man Brian Hoffman, he works up there in Missaukee County. Brian does a great job. So does
He does.
I've had a couple
with
cases in
Erie.
Missaukee.
Yeah. Yep,
But
the
see,
mayor, the
Brian
former
lives
mayor.
in Wexford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, in terms of lawyers that are residing in the county, I think there might only be two.
Well, look
That's
at,
interesting.
guys, look at Grayling, which is Crawford, and even your neighborhood, Mike, where you grew up, Roscommon. I mean, Trey Ayers does a great job up there. We love Trey. And my buddy Mike Juarez is up in West Branch.
And those are beautiful spots. Crawford County is a gorgeous county. So is Roscommon County. It's got two lakes, Higgins Lake and Houghton Lake. And it's, all those communities are underserved. We need more lawyers. I never thought I would say this in 25 years, but here I am.
Really do. And again, it's the public that is harmed by the lack of experienced attorneys. And I think us attorneys as a whole, the entire profession with the communities need to get together and figure this out. Because, I've been doing it for 30 years. I don't know how many, I'm good for another 10 years. And that's it. So, but anyhow, hey guys, we're going to do part 2 of the show. So stick around. We're going to pre-record next week's show. We're going to continue talking with attorney.
We got to talk about the cell phone case in the next show.
Cell phone case coming up. And Nick Klaus, you got some stuff to talk about. Craig, how about you? You want to talk more about the eclipse or what?
No, the eclipse is done. All done. We can talk about OJ. No. The show is over.
We need Norm. Who's going to play Norm Macdonald in that show?
The show is over, guys. We part 1,
OJ.
part 2 next week. Be sure to download the podcast version. And I'm not just a litigator. Craig, what am I?
You're an advocator, Todd.
Thank you, Nick Klaus, attorney. Mike Nichols, attorney.
Absolutely.
Craig, producer extraordinaire. Part 2 next week, right here on the Todd L Law Show.
I'm a walking in the rain. Tears are falling and I feel a pain. Wishing you were here by me to end this misery.
The Todd L. Levitt Law Show, brought to you by Clark Modular Homes of Mount Pleasant, Rusty Gold Antiques in Everett, Chad Malley Well Drilling of Rosebush, Clear Vision Windows, Siding and Roofing of Midland, and attorney Todd L. Levitt.
Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.